Tender.
Test one check. Test one check. Test one check one test one check one test check one test 1 2 check one test one check test one check
Good evening, everyone. First of all, I would like to welcome you all to the 34th National Rover Scout Moot of Sri Lanka 2021, organized by the Sri Lanka Scout Association. As you all know, this is the first day of our Rover Moot, and we are all here for the International Scout Exchange Program, where scouts all around the world comes and joins to a single session. So, without further ado, I would like to invite to welcome you all the Assistant Chief Commissioner of Sri Lanka Scout Association for Rovering and IT, Mr. Srilat Silva, to welcome you all.
Good evening, everybody. At this very moment, I would like to introduce a couple of resource personnel who joined today with us in this international exchange program Q&A and give you a wide knowledge on international affairs. First of all, I welcome the chairman of APR Youth Representative, Mr. Lim Wei Yung. He's from the APR and he's presenting for us an international aspects of APR. And we welcome you, sir, to this program, and thank you for joining. Then we have here Dr. Rajeeva Perez, International Commission of APR, International Commission of Sri Lanka Scout Association. He is a senior consultant cardiothoracic surgeon, chairman of the National Commission for Safe from Harm, and also commissioner in charge of research and development. Welcome you, sir, Dr. Rajeeva, and both of you, and all of you, the local and foreign participants, and also the other officials, if there are any, to this vital program. Welcome.
Our history isn't in the past. Our heritage isn't our better times. Our culture isn't done being defined. It's in the air. It's in the earth. It's in the waters. As it has been for thousands of years, as it still is this morning. Sri Lanka isn't a place, it's a marvel, a brave new world that wasn't made by the rules. She's a rebel of nature. She's a blessing of imagination, of untold innovation and resilience. Let's tell the story of Sri Lanka with the same courage this island was born of. It's in how we love, how we believe, how we protect, how we share, how we feast, and how we heal. As we dismiss strangers by making them friends. Because that stuff of stars that is beneath our feet, the brilliance that makes the monsoon waltz around lush hills and save itself to soothe scorched plains. The wonder that makes the salty seas nurture jungles of pure paradise. And the wild beauty that stays fierce and vibrant even as time tries to quieten it is in us. And now it's time to show the world Sri Lanka as it has always been, but never been realized before.
Okay. Next, there will be introduction about the Moot session by our Rover Scout, Ms. Gimhani Rajpaksha, about the Rover Moot International Exchange Program of the 34th National Rover Scout Moot.
Thank you, Shalita. Now I'm going to take you through an introduction on Moot session, which is the very first Moot session in 34th National. As the steering objectives we have identified. So we are conducting this program to open up a platform to exchange the cultures of participant Rover Scouts all over the world, to develop scouting knowledge, build relationship with Rover Scouts in foreign countries, and to enhance the active participation of international Rover Scouts for the 34th National Rover Scouts in Sri Lanka. This International Rover Exchange Program is conducting under two sessions, as pre-moot session and moot session. Our pre-moot session was held on 21st of April with a great success. So today we are going to take a step forward to the moot session of International Rover Program in 34th National Rover Scouts, Sri Lanka. Today there will be a presentation which is conducted by Mr. Lim Wei Yung, the chairman of the Regional Youth Representatives of Asia Pacific Region, member of Asia Pacific Regional Scouts Committee, member of Asia Pacific Regional Monitoring Task Force. He will be presenting this presentation under the topic of regional youth involvement during the recent past, especially during the pandemic. So, without further ado, let's start the program. Over to you, Shalita.
Thank you, Gimhani. Next, I will cordially invite Mr. Lim Wei Yung, Chairman of the APR Youth Representatives 2018 to 2022, member of the APR Scout Committee 2018 to 2022, member of the Asia Pacific Regional Monitoring Task Force 2018 to 2024, to do his presentation of the International Rover Exchange Program of the 34th National Rover Scout Moot of Sri Lanka 2021. Over to you, sir.
Hi, thank you so much, and for the opportunity for me to be here in the international setting to share with you guys about the regional involvement, youth involvement.
We can't hear you, sir.
Sir, you are on mute.
Sir,
Yes,
sir, we can't hear you, sir.
Mr. Lim.
Yes.
Yeah, now it's okay.
Okay, thank you. Just once again, thank you for the opportunity for me to share. And first of all, congratulations to more than 100 years of Rover Scouting in Sri Lanka. Just let me share my screen. Hold on. Yep. Are you guys able to see the screen? All right, so just let me introduce myself. My name is Wei Yong. I'm from Singapore, and I'm currently the chairman of the Regional Youth Representatives. So I'll first share with you guys about maybe just a little bit about what youth involvement is all about. I'm sure majority of you have been involved in some form of decision making, some form of team, and you have participated and you have been involved and you have been empowered to make decisions as a youth. So I want to ask you just one simple question. Okay, how do you make young people learn to be involved? There are two pictures over here. The left is A and the right is B. So which one do you think makes young people learn to be involved? The first one, A, the left picture shows the father with the son, letting the son sit onto the bicycle and helping him, guiding him, supporting him along the way. And the one on the right shows a picture of the father just carrying the son, and the father is the one that rides the bicycle. So I'm sure all of you will choose the left picture, which is A. And that's because we all know that when you try it for yourself, when you learn by doing, you experience it the most. And that's when you are mostly involved. So what's this basic principle that we actually have in this? Actually, what the Scouting movement is all about, right? It's about young people supported by adults. And it is not a movement for young people managed by adults only. So Scouting can offer a potential for young people and adults to work together. And that's where the beauty lies, because we tap onto the experiences of the adults and the skill sets. And we learn in this wonderful and safe community where young people then tap onto them, get supported and learn the different skill sets needed to go through our teenage life and even our young adult life. So that's what Scouting is all about, right? And let's ask ourselves a question: what exactly is youth involvement? So as a youth, we have participation, and after participation, we have involvement. Then we have the engagement, and lastly, we have empowerment. So I'll briefly run through these 4 involvements to give you a better idea of what these are about. So let me start with youth participation. Youth participation is a process where young people are consulted. So they are asked for their opinions and what are your thoughts and what do you think about this? This is called youth participation. So it contributes to the decisions that will affect their lives. And next thing that we talked about was youth involvement. And so what is youth involvement? It's actually the capacity building process. So this allows young people to actively share responsibility with adults for decision making that directly affects them. So participation is just like, oh, I'm asking you, what do you think about this? Involvement is actually sharing that responsibility. Okay, you got to do it, right? Yeah. So that's involvement. The next thing is engagement. Engagement is slightly more involved. It's actually the meaningful participation and sustained involvement. So it's not just like a one-off, or what do you think? Oh, can you do it? Okay, I just do it once. But it's actually the sustained involvement, continuous participation, continuously involving the youth, and that's called engaging. And that's where the youths are able to use their time, their intelligence, their talents, their skill sets to make a positive change in their own life and in the life of others. So this becomes a continuous thing. And then we ask ourselves, what is empowerment? So we have participation, involvement, sustained involvement gives you engagement, and empowerment. So empowerment is actually an attitude, a structure, and a culture where young people gain the ability, the authority, and agency to make decisions to implement change. And this is where we talk about youth empowerment opportunities. And there are many youth empowerment opportunities, I'm sure, in the NSO and also across the Asia Pacific region. Okay, I hope you have a better understanding of the different level of youth involvements, and it gives you a clearer picture of what kind of involvement you would want an activity to have. So why is it important to involve young people? This is always the question, right? Because young people like to think outside of the box, become creative. Youth likes to have the right to be represented, because after all, we are a youth movement and we want to be represented. We want our voices to be heard, and also to collaborate between youth and adults, right? And the collaboration helps to develop relevant skills. And of course, the responsibility, because we don't just want to push our responsibility aside. We want to take charge of our own development. We want to have responsibility for what is actually happening, right? The program, the training, and stuff like that. And of course, it is part of the Scout method. So these are just some reasons of why definitely we need to involve young people in everything that we do. So I'd like to share with you more. This is an event. It's called the Scout Asia Pacific Scout Youth Forum. This was back in 2018, where all the NSOs come together. They have a delegation, so they have delegates and observers. What we do at the Youth Forum is, of course, to talk about some amendments to the constitutions and to see how we can drive our region for the next 3 years. But of course, during this event, during this forum, we also elect 6 members to be called the regional youth representatives. And these 6 people, from the left, it's Edwin from Hong Kong. Then we have Kumar from India. And then we have Daniel from Taiwan. We have Nafal from Malaysia. We have Hassan from Maldives, and myself from Singapore. So the 6 of us were elected as the regional youth representatives. Of course, it is to represent all the youths from the Asia Pacific region. And the Asia Pacific Scout Committee definitely believes in the capability of us, the young people, to take responsibilities at the regional level, which will give us the experience to help operate together with the adults at the regional level. So there are a few communities, right? There are 6 of us. And so each one of us sits in one of the committees. The chairman of the regional youth representatives sits onto the regional scout committee, okay? And then the other 5 sit on one each of the subcommittee. So we have 5 subcommittees, namely youth program, adults in scouting, communications and partnerships, governance, and financial management. So the wonderful and the beautiful thing is that besides sitting on the committee, our voices are heard, our feedback, our comments are taken seriously, and of course, all of us have a voting right in our subcommittee itself. That includes myself. I sit on the Regional Scout Committee, and I have full voting rights into everything that the Regional Scout Committee needs to decide. This is something I would say is youth empowerment at its maximum potential, right? Of course, what more can you give to a youth to be able to actually make the decision, right? And it can potentially stir and change the outcome of the committee. So there are many works to increase youth, more youths to be part of the subcommittees and also part of the Regional Scout Committee. So in the next in this coming Scout Conference and Youth Forum, we will definitely be able to see more policies, more constitutional changes that will encourage more young people to step up, to be part of these subcommittees, to have the youth voice, because we believe that we have capable youths, capable young people to be able to support and take up responsibilities within such committees. So in this coming triennium, in this coming Scout Youth Forum and Scout Conference, you'll be able to see that the open call for young people to be empowered, to be in these subcommittees and also be in the Regional Scout Committee will be quite strong. So you can look forward to such responsibilities at the regional level. So one training course, one program or one event that is upcoming is called the Asia Pacific Leadership Training Course. So this course was started by the RYRs, the Regional Youth Representatives. It is run by the youths for the youths. So originally it was supposed to be last year, June, in Myanmar. However, because of the COVID situation, we have to push forward and postpone the event. And our tentative date is in September. And because of the situation in Myanmar, we might not be able to run it there. But that you can look out for updates through the circular and through the APR Facebook and on and stuff like that. So just look out for this. This event will be sponsored one Rover Scout per NSO, and it will be most probably a hybrid of a physical and a virtual course. Of course, if it's not possible to have a blended course, then we will likely have to do it virtually, a full virtual leadership training course. So you can look forward to this, look forward to the nominations. We will have a limitation of number of participants because of the resources, but we will also look into the potential participation if we go virtual, because then there will be less fees needed. And of course, our sponsors have already agreed to sponsor us for this event. So this will be an ongoing event. You can look out for it in the later half of the year. Okay, the next, of course, the event that I was talking about, which is the upcoming Regional Scout Youth Forum, which is just before the Scout Conference. This will be in February 2022 in Taiwan. So hopefully, keep our hands crossed. Hopefully everybody does our part to keep the community safe, to keep everybody away from this virus, and that we will get through it soon by this year, so that by next year we will be able to meet physically in Taiwan to host this youth forum. So regardless if this youth forum is going to be virtual or it's going to be physical, the nominations for the next regional youth representatives will also be out by the end of the year, around October. So you can look for the nominations for the regional youth representatives, which is my position, because I will step down during this coming youth forum, and I'll hand over to the next batch. So that's one activity, one potential youth empowerment, a very large responsibility that you can take if you like to step up in the Asia Pacific region. Now, this looks quite familiar to all of us, right? We have been doing virtual courses for the last few months and for the last year. And it has taken us really accelerated our digital capabilities. From last time it was just all physical presentations. We had to train ourselves to not have stage fright, to be able to speak in front of an audience. But now the audience are just right in front of you in a flat screen, and there's only limited people you can see at one time, although there are so many participants online at once. This image is something that will not go out anytime soon. This image will be something that will stick and be familiar to us at least for the next few years. Why? Because it has proven to be so effective. It has proven that we are able to use technology to help us train, to help us bring across a message, to even bring people from different countries together in one setting, just like this setting over here. right? I'm streaming live from Singapore and you guys are in Sri Lanka. And, you know, although we are in different time zones, we are able to be at the same place at the same time. And it's just so beautiful and wonderful. So this is an example of a successful virtual event. And is this what we are going to look, is this really the future of all our events, all our scouting events that is to come? Or are we able to go back to our physical? Or will the new normal be a hybrid, a blended version of a physical and a virtual kind of setting? So we can always have a look and discuss. This is a very interesting picture that I found online. It is a picture that shows two people in screen, in the screen, and they are actually outside and shaking hands. I wanted to show and illustrate that it is possible to still have physical interactions through the screens, right? And this is what we talk about, the hybrid kind of course, the blended kind of course. So we all started during COVID situation. We all moved to virtual, 100% virtual. And we can look at some countries which have already started these hybrid courses. Hybrid courses can include things like a really small group of people in one place, and you have many different locations live streaming at the same time. And so the discussions can actually be physical discussions, and the sharings can be virtual sharings, right? That's an example of how we can merge physical and virtual setting together, and that's how they can complement. Many other forums that are upcoming, many other moots, scout moots that are upcoming have also tried, who are also trying to do this hybrid kind of mixture setting, which can also be that physical element, which is we have a package of physical items that will be used during the event. And during the virtual event, you have to actually physically use those items, interact with them physically, while looking at the virtual instructions online. So it's interesting how slowly these virtual events are developing into more physical interactions. These are still, I would say, socially responsible because the safe, distancing measures, safe management measures are still in place. So it's one thing that we can consider. And I would say in the region, we are definitely moving into this sort of a mix, this sort of a hybrid blended kind of setting for our future events. So it's something that you can look forward to, something that you can consider. And there are a few events upcoming that will have this mixed setting. So what are some of the new trends, right? We have looked at virtual now. We look at hybrid, which is coming soon. But is physical setting going to be the future, or is the physical setting going to be mixed with also a virtual setting for our future events? I think this is something that we need to consider, which we will include the cost of running a physical event, the cost of running a virtual event. Of course, we have pros and cons. Some of the some of the limitations that we have is, of course, the internet. Not everybody has access to internet, and that's what limits our virtual capabilities. Of course, for physical limitations, if the person is not able to be there physically, then of course, the person will not be able to participate. So that's where both of them can complement each other, right? Physical, virtual, maybe do a virtual session prior to the physical session, or also it can be a physical session that live streamed for participants who are not able to participate to be able to watch and also see and participate virtually. So these are some of the trends that are coming, right? Virtual, hybrid, and I feel that in the future, it will not just be physical, just a pure physical event, but it will be physical with a bit of a virtual event, a virtual touch to the event. So I think that's what we can look forward to for the trends, and that's what we can see upcoming that is happening at the Scout level in other NSOs and also for the region. So I want to take this time to get your participation. So I hope that your fingers are free to type, and I want to ask you a question. So I want to ask you this, values, right? You see this picture, values. What are some of the values you think are needed in today's scouting environment, in today's digital environment? So if you have an answer, please feel free to type it in the chat box. And I see a hand up. Shobana, would you like to share?
You say like
Okay. Okay, I'm gonna stop my screen sharing first. Maybe I can see from the chat. There are some people asking some questions already, but I have a question. The question is, what values do you think Scouts nowadays require? What are some values or skill sets that you think Scouts nowadays will need to succeed, to strive in this world? So if you can type it down in the chat box. I will also type the question down so you can see. Well, I saw a good response, respecting others' opinions. Yeah, that's definitely something. And in a virtual setting, that's really funny how, because only one person can talk at one time, it forces us to respect that time and that opinion given by that person, as compared to a physical setting where, you know, like the loudest person gets to interject and just dominate the whole discussion. Yeah, I enjoy how the virtual setting allows you to kind of respect the opinion of others. Yeah. And I saw a comment from Si Ting Yim, innovation, open-minded. Yes, definitely some values, skills that nowadays youth will continue to actually innovate, right? We are forced to move and think how we can use technology to help us in the last 1 year, and definitely to be open-minded. I would say this is something that, you know, open-mindedness, not just from the youth. You know, we always talk about how can the youth be more open-minded, how can the youth be more open to new ideas. I must also give the credit to our adult leaders who have been open-minded to to accept the idea that technology can be part of our training and can be part of our program, and are willing to take the step forward to try using technology to learn at that age and to be open-minded. I think that's something that we have to also agree and give the credit to our scout leaders that are ahead of us, right? I see some very good comments out there, respecting the diversity of communities, personality development, respecting others, community project as one of the SDGs. I would say now, this is one comment which is very community project, right? We talk about community involvement, community project. In the last 1 year during COVID, I think it has stirred and strive us to even do more community projects. We had even, I think now within the last year, there were more community projects done as compared to even 2-3 years ago. This is something we can look towards, and we can also see if this is a trend that is going to be more community projects that are upcoming, produced from the ground level. We can think how can the youth support such community projects, such scouting projects that benefit the community around us. And everybody actually has a different community because we all live in a different part of the country. So this is something that we can look, it's definitely a possible trend that is upcoming, yeah. Dylan Nonis says being a team player. Wow, this is definitely important. And we also learn in Scouts that we work together in teams, right? And being a team player, whether is it physical or whether is it a virtual setting, being a team player really is helpful and really is critical to be, for a Scout to be successful in the organization. Yeah. I see some really good comments coming. Keep it coming. Self-motivation, time managing, tactful. Yeah. Self-motivation. Yes. In this time, we talk about can we continue to do scouting? I've heard many scouts who have lost their motivation, who has lost their fire, their passion for scouting because they cannot go outside, right? And this is where we talk about how can we drive and motivate our scouts. As young leaders, how can we motivate ourselves, and how can we motivate the younger generation to continue to have the passion, to continue to take on that responsibility to develop himself or herself in our emotions, emotional management, or even intellectually, or even to develop ourselves physically, right? I think these are definitely values and skill sets that a Scout needs to have, yeah? Yeah, and I would like to see some of the few other comments. I see focus, concentration, right? Life-saving skills such as CPR and first aid. I think now, this is important. I just went for a first aid course during the COVID situation, and it's very different how they teach, because now they are saying that, you know, mouth-to-mouth resuscitation is like a no-go because you might spread infections. And this is definitely something that we have considered only because of this COVID situation. And it's something that has pushed us to think about our current policies, to think about our current practices, and to actually think, is this relevant in today's society? So even a simple life-saving skill like CPR, it has changed to stay relevant. So then we let's look into our scouting program. Have we looked into how camping can now be relevant in this situation? How can hiking be relevant in this situation? How can we merge that? How can we complement, right, the physical and the virtual aspect of camping? How can we merge, complement the virtual aspect of hiking? Yeah. So these are some things that we can consider. Staying relevant is something very important in today's time, especially within the last 1 year. All right, I think I will not go back to my slides because my slides has only a few more slides left, which I will be able to share with you here. I've seen some questions. One question is, what is the best experience you gain in relating to scouting? Thank you, Hansika, for the question. I would say best experience is something difficult because I have so many best experiences. I would say one best experience is the opportunity to be here in my position right now as the chairman of the regional youth representatives. But I would say that experience is actually to be a member of the regional scout committee, because with that experience, I had to learn how to work with adults, how to work with high functioning adults. You know, they are at top of their level. When they speak, is of they speak with experience. That experience has taught me a lot, has taught me to listen, has taught me to really be open-minded from a different perspective. And that is a skill I would say it's necessary for leaders, for young leaders who are empowered to take up responsibilities, to have open-mindedness and to see things from a different perspective. That's definitely one of the experience I've enjoyed just within the last few years of my scouting journey. What are some plans, upcoming youth events during this pandemic situation? I would say I have attended a lot of virtual events, and I would say I think this kind of involvement is like no other, right? In the last 3 years, 6 years, 9 years, 10 years ago, you do not see young people at the regional level being so involved, attending so many events and sessions. But because of this pandemic, I would say that many countries have invited me and my team and also invited each other from different NSOs to speak, to share about what are some of the best practices that the country has for youth, for young adults, what are some of the different ways that they can have their programs, virtual programs to be run for their scouts. And it's really interesting because they virtually share culture, they virtually share the taste of food, but of course you can't taste the food, but like information, you know, just this diversity of how scouting is so different, but scouting is also so similar in the different countries. I would say that is definitely what I have learned within the last 1 year during the pandemic situation. And I would say this will continue on for the next year and the next few years to come. I would say the interaction, the engagement that we have across border will continue to increase and will continue to build this bigger network of youth, this bigger network of young people to share resources and to help one another, regardless of where you're from, of which time zone, what location, and what language. And that's where technology comes into play also. Okay, I think I do not have that much time left, or do I have a few more minutes? If you have any questions, please feel free to type into the chat box, and I'll be happy to answer all of your questions. I saw a question earlier up in the chat box, which says youth equality and youth equity. Wow, this is a very interesting question. Youth equality and youth equity. Okay, let me break it down into two. Okay, let's tackle youth equality first. So what is youth equality? I would say it's the equal rights for youth to be part of leadership positions. For example, will the youth be given equal chance, equal opportunities to take up leadership roles, leadership position in the NSO or even in the regional level? Okay, if that opportunity is equal, then we have youth equality. But if that equality is not equal, that means that only some roles are given to the youth. Some roles are youths are allowed to only apply for some roles. Then I would say we have not reached youth equality. But if youths are able to apply for all the roles, I would say then we have reached youth equality. So with this, then what is youth equity, right? I would say youth equity is when we have about the same percentage of youths and adults in a single committee. So for example, if we have, for example, one of the subcommittees at the regional level, like the youth program subcommittee, we will have youth equality if the youth is able to apply for the subcommittee, which we already have. And youth equity will be when I would say about half of the positions in the program subcommittee are made up of youths, which are made up of young adults. And I would say we are almost there because there are quite a number of young adults under the age of 30 that are in the youth program subcommittee. And we are slowly but surely increasing every triennium. Every 3 years, we have more and more youth, young people stepping up to be part of these subcommittees. And definitely at the regional level, it's actually happening. So that's the difference between youth equality and youth equity. At the regional level, definitely this is something that many adults in scouting support, and they have always been equipping and capacity building the younger generation so that they will step up and continue to take leadership positions at the regional level. So that's something interesting, and that is actually a trend that we can see on every year, every triennium. The average age of the committee is getting lower, right? It's getting younger and younger, which is something interesting to see. So I see no more questions in the chat. You can feel free to ask some questions with regards to the region, the Asia Pacific region, with regards to Singapore, or with regards to any scouting activities that you like to know. I see a question from Madawa. What will the outdoor activity life of the Scout movement look like in the face of a corona situation? this is something we have faced for the last 1 year, and many scout leaders have cracked their heads to think about how can we build this outdoor life into scouting, especially during this period where we cannot really go outdoors and there are so many restrictions, you know, when we want to do outdoor activities like camping or cooking outdoors. Okay, so I would say that the scouting movement will continue to have outdoor activities, but of course in a safe and controlled environment. Because during this situation, last time maybe we would have 10, 20 people, you know, camping, building a tent in one small area. But I would say now there will still be camp building, tent building. There will still be outdoor cooking, but in a different environment. Environment as in the number of people will have to change to become smaller, or the space required, you know, the safe distancing space between one scout and another scout will have to be adjusted. So we will not be able to cramp, you know, hundreds of people together in a campsite, but we need more space to spread everybody out so that we keep that safe distance and our safe practices to be in place. And this is also important because as scouts, we need to be socially responsible of our practices and to have that self-responsibility to wear the mask, to always wash our hands, to have good practices, and this will be the new norm. And how we can merge this new norm into one of our core scouting activities, which is outdoors, combined together to form our new scouting norm. And that I would say we will see more and more such activities, such practices that will come up within this year itself. I would say for myself, for my local group, we have plans for the next 2 months. We are going to go camping, but camping in outdoors, but in a really different setting. We have to have different gaps, space allocated specifically for one patrol of scouts. And the next patrol of scouts is really far away because we do not want them to mix. And you know, there are many such measures in place because of this new norm. So I would say that the scouting life will continue to be active. The scouting life, the outdoor life is something that you cannot take away from scouts. But how are we going to adapt? How are we going to innovate? How are we going to think out of the box and be creative in our new norm, in our scouting activities? And I would say that if we continue to reach out to our international friends, we can always ask them, hey, how are you guys doing your campings? How are you guys doing your outdoor activities? Do you mind to share? And that is the power of the internet, and that's the power of technology. That's where we can share across borders. That's where we can share best practices, get to know what are some of our young leaders' ideas and creativity that they have done to tackle for this situation, right? It's something that we can think of. And there's always Facebook, there's always Instagram. You can always reach out to the Asia Pacific, Scouting in the Asia Pacific region. That's the Facebook, that's the handle for the Facebook and Instagram page that the APR has. So I think I have time to take one more question, and then my time will be up. If anybody has a question, if not, I would say I would just give my last few comments. I would say This year has been really challenging, not just for the regional committee, but also for all the national leadership within the National Scout organizations. And I would say that this event, this Rover Scout Moot, is so important because it actually brings together a group of young leaders that is supported by our adults. You see, this is how we can work together to think out of the box, to use our past experiences and the current situation to emerge stronger, into this situation, this pandemic that we're in, to come up with better thinking scouts, to be more resilient, and to be technologically advanced. I think that is something that a lot of the values and skill sets that we have said that the scouts need actually is the same as what you have needed in a scout way back before the pandemic. Skill sets such as leadership, skill sets such as empathy, such as respecting and open-mindedness. These skill sets and values are the same, but we have made it relevant to today's time. So I would say continue to do such a wonderful job in making it, combining, breaking borders, breaking boundaries, combining together to share best practices. Continue to do that. And you can think about future trends, such as how we can merge virtual and physical and come up with a hybrid blended kind of course. That would definitely be a new norm emerging out of the pandemic. That is something that you can plan ahead and think about what we can do in the future. So I would say continue to fan that flame, that passion that drives all the young people to think creatively, to have inspiration from the people around you, to continue to build that network and that community within your scouting community, and to impact and give back to the community around you. So that's all I have for this session. And once again, thank you for inviting me to speak at the National Rover Scout Moot. Thank you. And if you'd like to add me on Facebook, Instagram, please feel free. We can always take our conversations offline. So my name is Lim Wei Yong. I can type my handle into the group chat. Thank you, and over back to you, MCs.
Being here with us today in the 34th National Rover Scout Moot of 2021 in Sri Lanka. Next, I would like to invite the Deputy Chief Commissioner of Sri Lanka Scout Association and the Deputy Moot Chief of 34th National Rover Scout Moot, and also a member of the World Scout Committee, Mr. Janapit Fernando, to address the International Moot Exchange Program. Over to you, sir.
Thank you. Good evening to all of you. It was a very good session. Leve Jung, I enjoyed and learned a lot from you, listening to you, not only at this session, but even at APR meetings, because you speak so precisely to the point and you bring out some very important matters when it comes to meetings and even today. So thank you very much for that. This international exchange program is very important, as you know. And during these pre-moot sessions, I've got to know that several scouts from other NSOs, other rovers had taken part in the pre-moot sessions, and the international exchange program has already begun. Because scouting, as you know, is spread over 215 countries and territories, and there are no barriers or boundaries. because in our diversity and inclusion, we have included that any person who intends to join the Scout movement should be able to join it, should have no bar whatsoever to join this. It's the same thing with scouting in Sri Lanka. Though we are not specially tailored to cater for children with special needs at the moment, especially the Rover section, we are working on this, and we expect that every Sri Lankan, from whatever religion, race, caste, will be able to join the Scout movement. As for the Rover movement, as you know, the Rover movement started in 1920 by Lord Baden-Powell, and by 1930, when Lord Baden-Powell wrote the second edition of the Rover into Success, he mentioned in that foreword that most of the rules are ones which have been made by the rovers themselves, and that he has to include this in the POR, or the policy, organization and rules. Therefore, youth empowerment, youth taking decisions, all that has been there from 1920 onwards. And we are now celebrating 100 years of the youth taking decisions for this movement. So that's a great step, because it is a youth movement which is supervised by adults, but it is always good, as our youth representative, chairman of the youth representative told, it is always good to get the youth involved in decision making, because they are the ones who think out of the box and are able to come with innovative ideas. As for Sri Lanka Scouting, we have introduced the youth involvement policy, the youth program policy, and as there was a question on the chat regarding equality and equity, I think equality was well tackled by the speaker, and equity is the percentage we have to give the youth members and the adults. As you know, as some of you know, in the APR committee, as mentioned by Jung, the APR committee consists of very senior people, but you have the youth voice there. The chairman of the youth representative is a member with full voting rights at that meeting. And also, as mentioned, all subcommittees have a representative youth member. Therefore, the similar situation is being introduced in Sri Lanka, where we want to have youth members below the age of 26 years at national level, at district level, and of course, group level. It is already happening, but we want to ensure that all 37 districts in Sri Lanka will have youth members in their executive committees or their branch committees, and the youth members will be able to be in the decision-making process for the districts. Because especially today, with this pandemic, the usual scouting, as some questions were raised on it, the usual scouting cannot be done, because people talk about a second wave, third wave, and then it goes on. But nevertheless, scouting has gone on for 114 years, and it will go on for another century. And during this pandemic, lots of new ideas have come out, and scouts, like never before, have done many a community service project during this pandemic. And scouts have got a lot of exposure. And in most countries, scouting has got a lot of public relations due to the COVID pandemic and the activities they have been doing. So therefore, my dear friends, I think it's a good opportunity. Scouts must grab every opportunity, whether it be a pandemic, whether it be a cyclone, earthquake, to step in fast and then support our brother and sister in our communities. That is what scouting is all about. As Lord Baden-Powell said, the greatest thing is to put happiness into the lives of others. So that is what we as scout leaders do. And as rovers, this is exactly what you can do to your brother scouts and sister scouts who are in the Singiti, Cub, Scout, and also the senior and the rover sections. Because you are the driving force behind Sri Lanka Scout Association, behind your districts, and in your groups. Therefore, you have a big responsibility to make sure that you, being the driving force, drive these young ones in creating a better world and making them better citizens for Sri Lanka and also in other parts of the world, so that they can go out there and serve their communities and give back to society what they have got from scouting, like most of us are doing. So that's my message to you in this for this 34th Rover Moot. I thank all those who have participated, both locally and from other NSOs. And I hope that all of you will continue to participate in this Moot on the webinars and other activities virtually. Plus, I know some of the scouts are camping. Please enjoy your camping and make sure that you maintain social distancing and also follow the health guidelines, because that is the way we could support our authorities to control this pandemic in our countries. Thank you.
Now, I cordially invite Dr. Rajeeva R. Perez, the International Commissioner of Sri Lanka Scout Association, to address the international program of 34th National Rover Scout Moot of Sri Lanka. Over to you, sir.
Hi, Bowen. So, can I share my screen, please?
Yes, sir.
Yeah. No. Yeah. Host has disabled participant screen sharing.
Yes, sir. Now you can. Now you can
Okay,
give it right.
thank you. As you can see, my topic, the topic I chose today, are you the best you? Before I go forward, let me tell you, this was prepared with in great haste. The whole slides were put together in less than 2 hours while I was partaking in another non-scout webinar just now, and I came late here as well. So please bear with me if you see any grammatical mistakes or spelling mistakes. So I hope you understand. Are you the best you? So what is this all about? So this is a talk. It's sort of all rolled into one: becoming a better human being, becoming the best version of yourself, and get the toxicity out of your life, all rolled into one. So I must tell you, there are at least 4 yous. Firstly, what you think of yourself. Then what you want others to think of yourself. Like, you may be a very bad person, but you want others to think that you're a very good person. Then what others really think of you. That's the third one. You may think you're projecting the correct image, but they may be thinking something else. Then finally, who you really are. What are you really? So that is the fourth one. So most of the time, there is a discrepancy between the 4 of these things. And you will never achieve 100% harmony and get everything in line. But we can try. So in perspective, you have perception of what you are, and there is the reality, and then you have to bridge the gap. So that's one part you have to do to becoming a better you. Now the next thing is, there is this concept of lifelong learning, and you have to become better every day until the day you die. If you think you're a great guy and a big, someone big and you know everything, you will never become better after that. So you become good, you become better, you become the best, and then you become better than the best, and you keep improving yourself. And this is an attitude you have to develop. And now there are 2 things, there are 1 or 2 things you have to think. Today is the first day of the rest of your life. I'm sure all of you have heard about this. Now, just behind that, you need to know, don't let yesterday take up too much of your today. Then the other thing about what you're going to do is, dreams don't work unless you do. You do what? You work. So how do you become a better you? There's so many things to do. I will take one by one. And I hope you can follow me. So the first thing is to dream big. So you aim high, and not just little things, but you aim high. Then success comes from desire. That means aim high, then you want to get there, and then you have to make the correct decisions, of course. Then you have to be determined. You have to pursue your goals. You have to live up to your potential. It doesn't matter where you're coming from. What matters is where you're going. Today I heard somebody saying, if you're born poor, that is not your mistake. But if you die poor, that is your mistake. So remember this. Then the other thing is, work smart. You can see you may have so many ladders, but if you don't use those ladders properly, you will not achieve your goal. The other thing is, don't wait for opportunity, just create it. Then the other thing is about your diet, because you don't want to put on weight and just get down to one place and lose your health. This is just good health habits. Eat in moderation, more helpings but smaller portions, more in the morning, less in the night. Limit the sugar, a little less salt and a little less oil. And listen to your body. Eat a variety. You are what you eat is an old saying. Then live simple. This is very difficult, I tell you. You have to have an uncomplicated life. Now, somebody once told me, I have a Facebook friend, remove her. I said, why? Bad stock. I said, what did they do? Nothing. So I said, no, I'm not going to remove somebody just because you tell me that they are from bad stock. Remember, every story, there is your side of the story, my side of the story, and the truth. So you have to live an uncomplicated life. Live a straightforward life. That means if you want something, just go for it without going and go to somebody else and get him to get it. Just do it straight. Don't walk in circles. Don't do things in a roundabout way. Don't pretend. Don't show off. Don't pretend to be somebody else. Just be yourself and be happy about being yourself. You should not be worried about worldly desires. You should be unaffected by various distractions and worldly desires. Then your focus should always be priority based. You should think of what you want to do, where you want to go, that kind of thing, rather than just do something what you feel like. Now, the value of life is measured by the quality of life and not the quantity of life. That means what you do should be a high quality job, not just do a lot of things. You build a chair, you build a very good chair, not build 3 chairs and the quality is very bad. And as I told earlier, keep learning, enjoy learning, be a lifelong student. And again, look after your health. Prevention is, of course, better. Exercise the body, also the brain. Drink plenty of water, get enough sleep, keep clean, reduce stress. And of course, these are general measures that are very useful even for the COVID situation. Now, the COVID situation, there are plenty of other COVID measures, but these are the general measures to improve your general health, and that will make a better you. Give generously. You must become a generous, giving person. Invest in love. Love is not loving the opposite sex and having a girlfriend or a boyfriend, but smile, be warm, be courteous. Little acts of love make other people happy. They call it the oxytocin rush. Oxytocin is needed for childbirth. It also makes you happy. It's a hormone. And when you help other people and somebody else sees you helping another person, not only do they get the oxytocin rush, you get the oxytocin rush, and both of you are happy. So do warm, good things. And also to others, be warm and sincere. Invest in love. That's what I am telling you. Then think positive. Very important. Don't think impossible things, but just think positive and works towards it. There are so many beautiful things to be happy and to go forward. Then when you say speak well, the first 3 things just goes with it. That is communication skills, interpersonal skills, motivational skills. Why is motivation more important? If I tell you to do something and you do it just because I'm telling you, that is not motivation, that is not well spoken. But if I tell you something and you get motivated to do it, that is spoken well. And then you need to have leadership skills so that what you speak will have the desired effect. These things come a little on the periphery decision making and time management skills or on speaking. It's a little not enough time. There's not enough time really to go into that. So we will go on and talk about other things. Attitude. Attitude matters. Now, if you ask a recruitment guru, they will tell you that today the recruiters recruit new people. They give jobs for attitude and then later train for skill. So they recruit for attitude and train for skill. So if you have good attitudes, you're likely to get a good job. Now, this attitude, why is it important? Because attitude, of course, is based on so many things. Your knowledge, your what you know about the whatever things that matters, your personality, your feelings, your emotions, your upbringing, lot of things, the attitude. And the attitudes will decide on the actions, and the actions will get you the results. So it goes like that. Attitude is very important, and attitude is not easy to change. So that's why you have to build your attitude slowly, that you have a healthy attitude to succeed. Now, other things to improve your life. About these are now, first we will talk about some personal things. Don't compare your life to others. You are marching to your own drum. Others are marching to their drum. So don't compare your life to their life. Dream more while you're awake. Think, dream big. Don't waste time hating people, hating things, hating places. There's no time for that. We have a limited lifespan. And life is too short to make all the mistakes. Learn from others' mistakes. This was told several centuries ago by a world famous general. Make peace with your past. Don't let the past come and haunt you and make you really miserable. No one is in charge of your happiness except you. We will talk about happiness. We will digress and talk about happiness because it is very important. And the last thing here is you don't have to win every argument. You can always agree to disagree. Now, happiness is very important. We do all this to become happy finally. Remember, happiness is free. It is all around you. You have to just find it. Now, remember, happiness is a choice. It is not a destination. Because some people say, when I get through O level, I'll be happy. Did you become happy after all? No. Then you say, after A levels, I will be happy. Are you happy? No. Then you will say, if I enter university, I will be happy. You enter university, are you happy? No, you're not. When you get out of university, are you happy? No. You're a little bit better off, but you're not happy. So it is not a destination. It is a choice. The moment you say, I will be happy and follow this, you will become happier. Now look at the numerous things to be happy about. Now you go to sleep. You wake up. If you wake up, that means you have not died in your sleep now. About 1/6 of the people who die in their sleep. So you are alive. And then you blink. What do you do first? You get up, you blink. You can blink. That means when you can blink like this, then you have not got a stroke. And if you can blink and nothing happens, you have tears in your eyes. So you don't have to put artificial tears every hour or two. It's a huge expense and a real nuisance if your tears don't come, because you have to buy it in the pharmacy, the artificial tears, and keep putting it every 1 or 2 hours. Otherwise, the eye will have lot of problems. So your tears are coming. That's why you can blink and nothing happens. So then you get out of bed. You can get out of bed without getting aided. You can move. That means you haven't got a stroke in your sleep. Then you go to the toilet and you wash your face and wash your mouth. What is happening? You close your eyes and you don't fall down. That means what? You haven't got what we call the posterior column illnesses. That is a part of the spinal column that is working. So see, just getting up, going to the toilet and washing your face, how many things are there that needs to be fine for you to do that? If one of those things go wrong, you're going to have hell on earth. So my friends, remember that this, what we are taking for granted, our health, there's so many things that have to come in line. Just one goes wrong, you will be spending doctor's fee, hospital's fees, drugs, and this, so many things. So think of the other things, what you have. So many people don't have. Just the freedom you have. So many people don't have. You are eating 2-3 meals a day. So many people in the world doesn't have. So be happy with what you have. Develop being happy to a fine art. Be happy with what you have. You have food. You are full in your stomach. You are not hungry. Be happy with it. You will be able to feel finally when you keep being happy about various small things. You will be able to be happy for nothing at all. And then you will have some things that upset you. In moments of despair, think of it in perspective. Think, okay, right? If somebody shouts at you, no point in you getting upset. No point in you getting angry. You're going to shorten your lifespan. If you want to do something, really want to do something, you want to forget that you're a scout, you can make his life miserable. Right? I'm not telling you to do that, but not you go and think about it and get sad and shorten your lifespan. Don't do that. Think, okay, he shouted, let him take it and go. Karma will come to him. I'm not going to, just think yourself and just come back to normal. So remember, my friends, when you decide to be happy, you really can be happy. So now we come back to the tips to improve your life. Now about the community. Call your family often. Keep ties with your close families. Very important. Again, if you spread love to them, you get back love. If you give them warmth, you get back warmth. Give something good to other people every day. Either a word or a deed or some material thing. Spend time with people, old people and young people. Be kind to them. Be nice to them. Make them feel happy. Try to make at least one person smile every day. Your job will not take care of you when you are sick. Your family and friends will. Let me tell you, if you die, if I die, my job, they will find a replacement very soon and they will forget me and you and everybody else who died. But your family, to your wife, to your children, to your parents, to your sisters, your brothers, they will remember you for years and years and they will feel sadness. The sadness will go away slowly, but every time they think they will miss you. So remember, family is very important. Do not neglect family. Now, list life itself, however good or bad the situation is, don't worry, it is going to change. Now it is raining, it won't last for a long time, it will dry up someday. No matter how you feel, get up, get dressed and show up. One secret to passing the exams is to do them. Get rid of anything that isn't useful, beautiful, or joyful. If you have something that bothers you or makes you sick and you can throw it away, just throw it away. Don't throw everything away. But this you must do. When things go wrong, think, plan, and do. Just don't get upset. I'll tell you something. How many people came to you to tell problems? This happened, that happened. Do you know? Here, look at what happened to me. Lot of people come and tell you problems. But did a single person come to you and tell you, I have a problem, brother. Can you think of a solution? Nobody came and told me. How many people came and told you? Has anybody come and told you, I have a problem? Please find a solution. Think about it, brother. No. Hardly anybody comes. They want to come and tell you problem. Even they are not thinking about solutions. So you won't have solutions. You are in a problem. You are a problem. Your whole life will be a problem. You can see this now. So break problems into small pieces and solve the small pieces. The whole problem will go away. Now, some more simple hardcore tips what you can do. So when you get up, set targets for the day. Say, these are the 3 things I'm going to do today. And do them. Now, if something goes wrong, right, will it matter in 10 months, 10 years? Will it matter? You fail an exam today. In 10 years, if you do well, will it matter? If it doesn't matter in 10 years, don't worry about it. It is just something mundane. It is just for today, not for the future. So, and always learn one thing new a day. It may be how to how to husk a coconut. It may be how to, repair a wristwatch. It may be how to make the cement mixture. Just learn one thing a day. Then watch a motivational clip or a leadership coach giving a talk once a week. Then always build a feel-good crew, right? That means you talk with them, you feel good, you do good things. Then you have to experiment, you have to think out of the box, do some new things, but have a basis for doing it. Don't do everything what you feel like doing. If you feel like jumping out of the window 10 feet, 10 stories high, don't do that kind of thing. You have to have your safety barriers. You have to have your methods for experimenting. It has to be safe. Then I'm not talking about chemical detoxification. That means there are so many drinks. There is this turmeric. Now, turmeric, the active ingredient is something called curcumin. Now, for curcumin to get absorbed, you need to put a little bit of pepper. Now, I'm not going to talk about that, but I'll just talk about the physical things that can make you a little feel better. Walk in the park, walk around. Walking is very good for you. Medical literature is coming how good regular exercise is to one's health. Then meditation is extremely good. You improve your concentration. You prevent Alzheimer's. Then go worship your own religion. Go to a temple. Meet a priest, a good priest, and meet a rabbi. Meet a what do they call them? Mulavi? Yeah, whatever. Anyway, go to a temple. Temples are holy places. They are good places. They all have some very good powers within them. So go worship, do yoga, meet a friend, meet a relative, stretch at home, just relax and take a bath. Remember, this last thing, take a bath. Scientifically, it has been shown that that gives you a lot of different things and advantages of like getting a more fresh feeling into yourself. So thank you very much. You are amazing, although you don't know it. So I'm telling you, I've told you how to find yourself, how to discover yourself. Believe me, you are truly amazing. It's just that you haven't found yourself. So good luck, find yourself. If you have any questions, I don't know, maybe the chat box, or you can ask it. Thank you. No, I can't. Oh, okay.
When you can go from sun-kissed to mountain mist in just 4 hours, that's so Sri Lanka.
When dolphins and whales swim around you all year so you can visit them at any time, that's so Sri Lanka.
When a bicycle ride in the countryside is one long roadside party of board games, quirky friends, and the world's best cup of tea, that is so Sri Lanka.
When every sunset is an aphrodisiac and the nights command you to dance them away, that's so Sri Lanka.
When you can marvel at elephants in the morning
and then meet some exotic birds, bears, and leopards for lunch,
that's so Sri Lanka.
When you can get an eye full of paradise and a heart full of adrenaline in a single afternoon,
that's so Sri Lanka.
When people brave dizzying heights to taste a buzz of fresh, warm toddy,
that's so Sri Lanka.
When feasting together makes you family, so we take every opportunity to indulge, that's so Sri Lanka.
When time slows down and urges you to as well,
so you can soak up the full magic of cultural treasures at every turn,
Storied street food made with love for 3 millennia.
360 degrees of ocean.
365 days a year.
Hugging lush forests, misty meadows, secret waterfalls, and ordinary Wednesdays. That is so Sri Lanka. When you surrender to every minute,
Becoming your new favorite memory.
on Earth's favorite island.
So wild.
So pristine,
So scenic.
so thrilling,
So spiritual.
So bold.
so colorful. That's so Sri Lanka.
Dr. Rajeeva Perez, thank you very much, sir, for your very informative session and being here with us today for the 34th National Rover Scout Moot International Rover Exchange Program 2021. Thank you, sir. Next, I would like to invite Rover Scout Ms. Anupama Veerasinghe to deliver the vote of thanks of today's International Exchange Program.
Thank you, Shailita. Invited guests, National Headquarters Commissioners, District Commissioners, Assistant District Commissioners, and fellow Rover Scouts, a very good evening to all of you. It gives me immense pleasure to deliver the vote of thanks of this event to all of you who are present here today. On behalf of the Moot Steering Committee, I would like to extend my sincere gratitude to our chief guest, Mr. Janapreet Fernando, a member of the World Scout Committee, Deputy Chief Commissioner of Sri Lanka Scout Association, and our special guest, Dr. Rajeeva Perez, the International Commissioner of Sri Lanka Scout Association, and Mr. Lim Wei Yung, Chairman of Regional Youth Representatives of Asia Pacific Region, and Mr. Srilad De Silva, Assistant Chief Commissioner of Rovers and IT, and all the district commissioners and all the assistant district commissioners of Rovers and IT for making aware of Rovers about this moot and encouraging them to join with us, and to all the international participants who joined us, showing the true fellowship of Rover Scouting, and my dear fellow Rover Scouts, without whom this event would not have been a success. Hoping to see you all at the upcoming moot sessions. Good night. Thank you.
It marks off the today's session. Good night and stay tuned. Thank you.